Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update. Not too much to talk about here, but let's get through this. So the first one up is that it looks like Diamond Select Toys tomorrow on the 12th are going to be announcing their San Diego Comic-Con exclusive merchandise. So the teaser here you can see is a silhouette of a statue that is very clearly this one. So you can see in comparing the silhouette to this, holding the staff above his head, the hand outstretched there. The only thing you don't quite get, that's slightly cut off, and it's unclear if it's just that it's because it is just below his hand, or they've actually changed it. That's unclear. What are they doing? There's no way they're just doing a re-release of this as the Comic-Con exclusive. So what are they changing this up to be somewhat different? Obvious thing. Avatar state. So just change the blue to white, change his eyes. Is that a simple paint kind of redo, and that's all you can do? That's probably the simplest thing to do. In that case, I think for people who probably have this already, it's probably not worth trying to seek out an exclusive to get. But maybe there is something to the fact that you can't quite see the big air kind of blast here for the stand. Maybe they have changed the air effect part for the statue, because you'll notice that obviously the Aang figure, for the most part, outside of where his foot is attached in at the bottom, is a separate piece to the entire base and effect. So they could just put this figure on a different base and make it work that way. So they could easily do with this pose waterbending Aang to just change it up a little bit, Avatar state but with waterbending, and do some sort of a slightly different thing on the bottom. Who knows? But it's interesting to speculate about what exactly they are going to do. I really like this statue, so a really fancy redo might be something I'm interested in, but likely not. Let's see if they go for something good, or if they go for something very weak, like say the sepia tone, like Zwire Industries did. That was such a joke. That was their repaint, sepia tone Aang. Such a lack of effort there with that one. But anyway, last piece of news here is just that Legend of Korra Patterns in Time has been delayed again. The book is now coming out 4th of October 2022. This now means the book has been delayed 6 months past its original April release date. It means it's been delayed every single month since it's been announced, and it's just not a great situation for one of the only new content releases of the year from Dark Horse, especially when less than half of the book is going to actually be new content, because it's going to be reprinting Friends for Life. It's going to be reprinting Lost Pets, as you can see here. And it's going to have Clear in the Air in it. So it's going to have the 3 previous Free Comic Book Day books. And then, at least in my opinion, this book is coming out quite a bit towards the end of the year at this point, and may not even be finished being delayed. I'd be shocked if Beach Wars, this year's Free Comic Book Day book, wasn't in this as well, which would leave only about 20 pages of new content to fill in, which realistically is 2 stories if they keep to the sort of 10-page kind of format, or 3 if you go for some shorter stories. It depends on what way they break it down. They could do a 10-page story plus maybe a 12-page story to complete the page count. It's unclear about just how many will actually be left. In terms of speculation on everything else, there's not too much in the description. Join Korra, Asami, Mako, Bolin, and Tenzin, and other faces, and lots of different content creators. The only thing about this that I think you can really take from this is that I don't think this necessarily suggests that there's a Korra focus story, Asami focus story, Mako focus story, Bolin focus story, Tenzin focus story. I think it's just these are the main characters. They will be in here at some stage in the book. Now, what is interesting about this is that for this to be correct, Mako has to be in one of the remaining stories that we haven't seen yet, because Mako isn't in any of the Free Comic Book Day books. So For this to be correct, he has to be in one of the new ones, and that's going to be something that's quite interesting. Now, if you want to make the case that, no, it probably is a thing where they are getting specific stories. Well, okay, Korra has friends for life. You can sort of say Bolin is maybe the feature character of Beach Wars in a way. Tenzin is the focus character, definitely, of Clearing the Air. And that leaves Asami and Mako as not really having like a focus book. Korra actually has two in a way, because she's also in Lost Pets as the lead alongside Milo. So these two are not really up to much in most of the other books, but at least Asami is present in some of them. So that is something that's interesting to note. Other than that, not a lot to really go on here. Final thing I want to say here is just, obviously, as usual with these delays, nothing said as to why the delay has happened. Now, do I expect that? Absolutely not. Now, Dark Horse in the past have more or less tried to get across the idea of like, okay, like pandemic, shipping, printing issues, that's what's happening here. I don't really buy that completely for this book, especially when it so consistently gets delayed to extremes. Like for a book to 6 months in a row get a month delay speaks to not this idea that, oh, we can't print the book on time and so on, given that the last two books you released, or three if you include the Free Comic Book Day book, they got the Free Comic Book Day out for Free Comic Book Day. Admittedly, some stuff changed there, but they got the book out. The North and South Omnibus, which released earlier this year, did hit its original date. The Book 3 art book reprint, which again is a relatively recent release, that I believe was minorly delayed to the point where I can actually understand that one being a sort of, printing issue, scheduling issue type thing, because it was only like a couple of weeks to a month at most that book got delayed. But there's a huge difference between, a book slipping by a week or two and every month on pretty much right at the start of every month, the book slips back by exactly a month with nothing said. I think what they're doing with a lot of these new book releases is that they are maneuvering them around to account for the fact that they don't have a lot of new books coming out. So if they had hit their original release dates for these books, Chibi Comic already out for nearly a year, this book out at this point, like, a month ago, there would be next to nothing for the rest of the year that isn't just a reprint book. So they, I think, are just actually choosing to be like, okay, actually October's a better date for this book. That way there's a bit of a gap between, Free Comic Book Day and this, and then we can have other stuff. Again, the problem with that is that you have the Book 4 art book in July. Again, this book has received roughly a month of delay, I think, as well, give or take. Nothing too substantial. And it's interesting to note the differences between all the new books and what has happened, what hasn't happened. Again, this book's maybe received like a month's worth of delay. I think maybe it's been delayed once or twice. Nothing too crazy, though. And it seems to be sticking to a July release date. And it's part of the Deluxe series. If you look at the Avatar books, you can see, okay, they actually hit their date on the Omnibus edition. The Cooks, this is all stuff that's non-Dark Horse. Even this is non-Dark Horse, but the expectation is that this will hit its release date, of course, the Yang Chen book. Interestingly, the Chibi comic has kept the August date for the last 2 months in a row. So 2 months without a delay for this book. And I feel relatively confident at this stage, a year plus on, it should maintain that date and finally come out. But again, after it being even more wildly delayed, it stopped all of a sudden. Why? Why can you confirm this book having the release here, but you can't with the other books? It's just a bit weird. Similarly, the box set just announced, 4th of October. Where do we hear that before? Wait, it's the same as this. Are you really, like, after like having such a patchy release schedule, going to have these two books come out on the same day? They do it at times. They've done it in the past, not recently too much, but I just don't think that's a great move. Now, the thing obviously is that this could be delayed, the box set, but more than likely this might just get another delay itself. And then the only other book that's maybe not here is Beast of the Four Nations, which you would expect to be out 4 to 6 months after this book. So you're talking probably November, December, January, February for the release of Beast of the Four Nations, if it's having any sort of a proper release cadence with the rest of them, because the book 4 reprint is going to be the second last book of the deluxe set for the spine image. Beast of the Four Nations is that last one, and I don't think they'll want to delay that too badly after this book comes out. So it does speak to the idea that from like the Dark Horse perspective, they don't have a lot going on right now, super in the middle of the year. There's a little bit of like a 2-month gap, and then they'll have at least that art book coming out, and then you've got this and the one-shot comic reprints, and they have books, but the new content is not really being kind of placed super well. And so the idea of Chibi Comic in August, this in October, and then maybe Beasts for December or something like that could be a decent end to the year. But you have to factor in that one book's been delayed by 6 months, one book's been delayed by a year plus. Beast of the Four Nations has also, I suppose, effectively been hugely delayed as well, if it was even officially ever announced. And then you factor in just okay, things are slow because of Avatar Studios. When's the next Avatar comic after Chibi Comic? When's the next Korra comic after Patterns in Time? This is where we're at right now, and what we're kind of looking towards, and it doesn't seem particularly clear where things are coming from. And obviously, if not for this book, I don't think this year is shaping up that well for content otherwise. The Chibi comic, I think, will be a bit of fun when it comes out. I hope the news stories that are in Patterns in Time deliver, because I really think they need to for Korra fans this year. Especially after I felt Beach Wars was quite weak, so we need something better than that, more along the lines of Friends for Life. But I think this probably will end up being still the highlight of the year. I have confidence in FCE that it will be amazing and will more than make up for any weaknesses of the other books. So hopefully, as this one's actually quite close. We're getting towards the point where we're just 2 months away from this. We might be beginning towards building up to getting a preview for this, our first excerpt from it, which would be quite cool. But that is it for the video. Just these 2 quick pieces of news. Obviously, the reveals tomorrow on the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. Definitely, like I said in the comments, let me know what you think they'll do to make the statue, the exclusive version, different than the normal version here. And what are you expecting from that? And then what are your thoughts on Patterns in Time being delayed again, and what that means for the release schedule for the rest of the year? But other than that, that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.